Welcome back to the podcast. This is Matt Eagle from Eagle AI Agency. I'm here with Matt. If you've been following along, we've been having interviews with CEOs and business owners. We've started in recruiting, we did coaching, and now we're kind of back into recruiting. It's been a hot topic, so I figure let's just keep doing it, keep going with it. And so, Matt, if you can, go ahead and introduce your business, mainly what you focus on within your business, and then we'll jump right into the questions.
Yeah, sure. So I'm the founder and CEO of MJL Recruiting and Consulting, and I mainly partner with, 5 to 200 employee businesses, mostly in the professional services space, to help
Nice.
them find the skilled talent that they need to grow.
Yeah, and when did you start your business? Obviously, it's executive recruiting and professional services, right?
Not executive, no. I
No.
typically don't touch executive.
Yeah,
No.
it's definitely.
Too many phone calls, too much chasing, not really my thing.
Yeah,
But I'm in business a little over 3 years.
nice. Okay, awesome. What made you kind of start your own business versus currently staying in maybe other roles?
Yeah, so I was at Microsoft back in the pandemic, and I got caught in their first round of layoffs. A
Mm,
month before my contract was supposed to end, I got another shorter term contract with another company after that. But that was right in the window where every recruiter who was going to be laid off had already been laid off by the time that second contract ended.
yeah, it's
And
pretty
I
rough.
looked around and I went, huh, well, I could be unemployed like everybody else. Or I could go do my own thing because I knew that there was a vast population of businesses that weren't being served by typical recruiters because they can't afford the fees that typical recruiters charge.
Yeah, that's right.
But they
Yeah,
need just as much help. And
yeah,
they're the backbone of this country, right?
yeah,
So they need help and support and some love too.
yeah, absolutely. So you're able to find a mid market where you're price competitive and still high quality recruiting that gets to them. Yeah. So
Yeah,
when you
100%.
what was the hardest part of starting your business as a recruiting firm?
Gosh, I think having to redevelop a network that I didn't have when I
Yeah.
started. Because most people, they don't build a network while they're in corporate. Because why would I need a network? I'm in corporate, right? Like,
Yeah.
what do I need a network for? What good is that going to do me?
Yeah.
Oh, turns out a lot. So yeah, that was probably the toughest part, but it's also the most enjoyable. Honestly, I got to meet
Yeah.
so many people, and I still get to meet so many people that do so many different things that I don't do. But if a client is like, "Hey Matt, do you know somebody who does this?" I want to be able to go, "Yeah, here they are. I'll send you an
Yeah.
email."
Yeah.
Right. So that's one of the things that I wanted from the start is that basically there was nothing a client could ask me for that I don't do that I didn't have somebody that I
Mm,
couldn't send them.
yeah. How did you do that? How did you build that pipeline of candidates and customers? Was it just going on LinkedIn, commenting, doing the three suggested every day, or was it tools, or how did it first start off? And how did,
Yeah, so on the client side, I knew from the jump that cold outreach really didn't work,
mm,
and so did that stop me from spending a little bit of money to trust somebody who said that they'd done it and could do it? No, I tried it.
yeah,
Um, they brought me absolutely nothing,
yeah,
and so I went on a networking spree, and I would do 8 to 10 virtual coffees, one-on-ones every day.
mm,
Um, and that was tiring. It
yeah,
felt like a broken record after a while.
yeah,
But the first thing it allowed me to do is get people in my stratosphere, right?
mm,
But the other thing that it allowed me to do fairly quickly is realize, oh, nope, those aren't the kind of people that I should be talking to because
right,
they're never going to be able to send me business, right? They're
yeah,
never going to, and I'm never going to send them business. So I
yeah,
was really able to then refine it and narrow down the kind of people that I was looking for, centers of influence, whatever, networking words you want to apply to them.
mm,
That I know, hey, this is the person who's going to hear this when they're engaged with a client and their client needs what I do.
yeah, absolutely. Virtual one-on coffees. How did you get those set up?
Lots of networking events. I was in, I don't know, 3 or 4 networking, like official networking organizations all at the same time.
Yeah,
And I was one of those guys when I was a part of them that if they had a directory, I didn't wait to run into people in meetings.
Yeah.
Like I might never run into this person in a meeting,
Yeah.
and so I'd go search the database and find the people that I wanted to talk to, and there was usually an email address there, so I'd send them an email and go, hey, like if you're interested in chatting, I'd love to connect and learn more, and see how we might be able to help each other grow our businesses. And most people were very receptive, and so we just set them up, have a chat, and it took me a little while really to get the system down of how I wanted to do it, because for like a year I was going to weekly meetings, right? And it's now I look back on it and I look at it as like we were going to AA meetings, kind of.
Yeah.
Because like everybody was really good at going to the meetings, right?
Yeah.
Like AA. And then we were really good about setting up the first like one-on-one, but then we get to the end and kind of turn into like awkward teenagers at a high school dance.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, so we had the conversation, we know things about each other, but what do we do now?
Is it a fit? Yeah. Are we actually going to do business?
And so, I met with a lot of people once, and I'm like, okay, cool, but like there's no relationship there, right? There's no like trust. None of those people am I going to entrust to a client. And so I got to a point where, if I got to the end of a meeting and I'm going, yeah, we could send business back and forth and be like, hey, do you want to meet again in 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Because you can talk to almost anybody for 30 minutes and have a good conversation.
Right.
But are they the same person on the second call?
Right.
You still have things to talk about on the second call. Do you still want to talk to this person on the second call? Right? And then if that one goes well, then it's like, okay, well, let's set up a recurring cadence, right? And so typically I meet with people once a quarter, because it allows enough time for stuff to change, so you have something to talk about. But, it also is in that window where you don't start to forget them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because the data bears out, like, you don't talk to somebody about once every 90 days, you start to forget them.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Okay,
that engagement,
perfect.
with that engagement process of 90 days or just like a quarter, a month, did you find it like very hands-on? Like it was very like tedious to be like, where's this guy at? Like, push him out, or did you just do it on the calendar?
No, not in networking, no. Because I would just send the invite, and if we needed to move it, we emailed each other and we're like, hey, let's put it over there. I've had some people drop off, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I really followed, a lot of the data on people who really know how networking works and what it really is supposed to look like. And I'll say this and we can go another direction, but like most people who network, they don't really know how to properly network.
Where did you find the data specifically?
People who have been so I was in Success Champion Networking. Donnie Boyven has been doing this for like 15 years, and he's looked at all of the data, read all of the stuff, and just through his personal experience of like doing it for so long and trying to figure out like, how do I make this actually work for me and for everybody else?
If somebody wanted to find that data, is it ready to sales? Are you affiliate to him, or is it ready, or is it like a link or anything, that kind of stuff?
He posts most of it on LinkedIn.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, just in case it's affiliate, I wanted to give you a shout out. That was a good one.
Yeah,
I'll get you some fun on it.
But he posts lots of good stuff. I follow him pretty closely, and he posts stuff, and I'm like, dang, that was really good, Donnie.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love, it feels like the relationship doesn't start till the second meeting.
Yeah, absolutely.
When it comes to networking, right?
Yeah.
But everybody is also unique. I've gotten clients from people that I met once.
Yeah.
And I'm going, I would have never referred somebody to you after one meet. I mean, I might have, but we're talking a very small percentage of people that I might have done that with.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. What was his name again? Full name?
Donnie Boyven, Boivin.
Perfect. Yeah, just in case. Yeah, I think I'm going to follow him too. I have systems set up where it's based off data, but I would love to see what he's saying, because not all data online is accurate data versus experience data and so on and so forth. So it's really, really good. And to dive in, like processes, right? We obviously I run an AI business, and a lot of that stuff gets automated, right? So it makes it a whole lot easier for people. But where do you see AI fitting in? Where do you find it to be the most annoying thing ever, right? And then where do you think it fits in the recruiting space today? Because we talked about it before, and we'll go into it. But yeah, those three I think will help.
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite. I have two favorite uses for AI. The first one is here's the candidate's resume, here's the job description.
Right.
Rank the candidate against the job description.
Right. Right.
Because it can do it in 30 seconds, and it might. I mean, I can do it pretty quick, but I can't do it as fast as AI can do it.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not going to see all the things that AI sees and interpret things the same way that AI might interpret it. So I throw it in Claude, and in 30 seconds, it's like, yep, you better talk to them, or no, they're not close.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you reached wrong on this one, dude.
Yeah, and maybe it gives you questions to ask to clarify, too.
It does. So that's the second prompt that I give it, is like, okay, so what questions should I ask them?
Right.
Because, before AI, my typical process was I'd come up with generic questions based on the job description to ask everybody.
Right.
But with the advent of AI, I'm like, well, was I screening them the best that I could to really understand like where their gaps were, right? Because
Right.
I knew where their strong points were. But
Right.
now AI gives me the ability to like, here's their gaps. This is where you need to start, right? The job description says they have to have Rust. Okay, I don't see it on their resume. So you need to dig in and figure out if they actually have it. I mean, look, I would have figured that one out, but that's an example I just had from earlier this week with a candidate, and it's like, they don't have this at all. It's nowhere to be found, and the job description says they have to have it.
Yeah, right.
This is a huge gap. You need to make sure that they have experience with it, or they don't, and if they don't, then end the call and move on.
Yeah, absolutely. And the biggest thing is you could have missed that, and it lowers the quality of the conversation with the candidate, and then send resume over, and now the client thinks you're not quality because you didn't ask the right questions, and then you just fall into this trap, right? Recruiting for 8 years, I built my own list, but if I had AI, it would have been easier just to be like, okay, these are the right questions to ask, right? Especially when you're getting positions that you've never seen before, right? You're like, how do I...
Which is most of them.
Yeah, exactly, right? And I worked in the IT space for the first 3 years, PowerShell, development of SaaS, or, whatever it is, right? SQL developer and all these other things. And you're like, I don't know that. Do you have SQL development experience? That's the only thing I would ask, right? And then I got better at it for years to come to like target the right people. But it took me years where it's taken 30 seconds for you to ask the right questions, right?
I mean, and in that, our career started in the same space because I started in IT and engineering too, and I was like, dude, I don't know what any of this stuff means. I don't know what it does. The funny thing that I would do, and how I knew a candidate knew what they were talking about, is if they could explain it to me in a way that I could understand it.
Yeah, that's exactly that.
And it was honestly very striking because I'd have one conversation and I'd be like, this guy knows what they're talking about. I'd go to the next one like, dude, you clearly don't know what you're talking about because you couldn't answer my question, really, right? Yeah. And I'm like, look, you dive in deep tech and go, hey, I use this to do this, and this is where this plays in. Okay, look, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? But, people are like, don't you have to be an engineer to be a tech recruiter? No.
Yeah.
No, but also, like, I was always afraid of sounding like an idiot.
Yeah,
I'm still always afraid of sounding like an idiot. I'm like, is this person going to think that I know what I'm doing if I don't, ask good questions?
Yeah.
Sometimes I get job descriptions and I just had this again earlier this week, and what it looked like they were trying to do is combine two positions into one.
Yeah, so now you can consult them. Yeah.
So I also started, because I started asking this guy questions. He's like, what exactly is this person going to do there? Because these two things have nothing to do with each other. And I'm like, yeah, I thought the same thing. I didn't, but I'm glad that he pointed it out because I hadn't caught that.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing too, is I think what AI does is, and I'll go into Claude Code versus Claude, but what it really does is it allows you to just be an expert on the spot, right? And then it helps you evolve quickly too, because you're like, oh, wow, I'm starting to really understand these scopes. I'm really understanding how to ask these questions. And if it's reoccurring, you just remember, right? Which is amazing. So the hard question is AI ever going to replace recruiting as a whole? I've heard it. Um, yeah, let me get your perspective on it.
No. It can't. It really can't. Because and I talk about this even with people in the process, right? But what we so often forget is like, I'm not hiring a resume.
Yeah.
I'm hiring a person, right? And so we look at a resume and we're like, oh, you didn't get everything on there. Well, how many pages do you want it to be? Like, how many? I can't put literally everything I've ever done on this resume because you'll never read it and it'll be 25 pages long.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So we have to learn to read between the lines and go, okay, it looks like this exists, right? One of my favorite things to do is like candidates will list a skill in their skill section, but it doesn't appear in the rest of the resume.
Right.
They're like, okay, so where did you get that? Where did you use that? How many opportunities did you use that at? But you put that in AI, and AI is going to go, this guy sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And then you're like, because there's already this fear that AI is rejecting resumes as part of the ATS.
ATS is rejecting 75% of resumes right now.
And I keep... See, but that defeats the purpose of having an ATS, right?
Yeah. It's a marketing.
If it was called an ARS, an applicant rejection system, sure. Yeah. But it's called an applicant tracking system.
Yeah.
Right? And and I'm not using the latest one right now. And I know that they all have their like sorting algorithms that they look at the resume, but like the only reason that an ATS would automatically reject a candidate is if you had a knockout question on the application.
Correct.
And the candidate gave you the wrong answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I hear this all the time. I'm like, no, it's not automatically rejecting you. Yeah. Guess what? Recruiters work really weird hours. We just do.
Yeah.
Look, if I'm in back-to-back meetings from 8 to 5, but I have 400 resumes that I need to weed through, guess when I'm doing it? 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. Why? Yeah. Because I know I'm not going to be interrupted then.
Yeah. You can just
nobody's going to bother me, and I can just hammer through them, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, because people also don't want to talk to machines.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever done one of the one-way interviews. I have. They're super weird.
Yeah, I've seen it on Instagram. I thought of Instagram as a joke. Yeah.
No, they're like, it's a thing. I get emails about it all the time. Like, hey, we can help you save time, and I'm like, yeah, and ruin my candidate's experience before they get to me.
That's the part, right? Is the experience for the candidate. Because you're not the only game in town. Just because you have a job opening doesn't mean everybody's desperate for your job, right? No. That's it, right? It's the experience. It's a two-way street. You got to create a great experience, show your culture in the midst of it, show your leadership. But then it's also them showing up too as well. It's like a two-party thing, right? I really think that the recruiters that are average, I think we talked about this, they will be replaced because they're not having good quality conversations, not asking the right questions, not doing the things that they need to do, they're not being diligent. So the AI, of course, can replace you because at least we're getting something that's quality, right? Right. But the people having great conversations can communicate, can set right expectations, who can look at a job description and tell them, hey, you have two things in one, you probably should just separate the two, you have two jobs, or pay a little bit more because you're asking more than what you're expecting, right? Those are the people who are going to make it. But then AI is going to enhance the experience, like you said, asking the right questions, being an expert on each position, like being able to sort through, track these people, like all of that comes into play when it comes to technology, right? So how do you see AI evolving, and how do you see it playing a role in your business and in the business of recruiting long term?
Yeah, people are always trying to do more and better things with AI.
Yeah.
And how much can I automate? And, I have, from the jump, been resistant to AI. I really have. Just because, first of all, I'm going to use this reference and you're going to laugh because you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But, when it first burst onto the scene, the first thought I had was, did we forget all the movies that Hollywood made in the mid to late 90s and early 2000s with AI in it, and every time it attempted to take over the world?
Yeah, exactly.
And we're like, Hollywood, they don't know what they're talking about. We're just going to dive in and do all this stuff. And I'm like, No, I'm gonna slow play this a little bit because I don't know where it's going. I don't know what the end game is, and I think that people are jumping in, which is great. But I've heard stories of, and I don't remember what software they're using, but like it'll take your financial information and like
Oh, for sure,
throw it
100%.
out there, and So I think that there's the right way and the wrong way to use AI and automation, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like I said, I mainly use AI for quickly reviewing candidates, giving me good quality questions to ask, and having it generate really good cold outreach sequences for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's right now what a recruiter's best tool
Yeah.
is. Can I hook the candidate, right? Because I was talking to a lot of people about this recently, and I'm going to try and not rabbit trail here too bad.
No, you're good.
But the candidate responsiveness right now is the lowest that it's been in the 10 years that I've been in the industry.
100%.
It's non-existent.
It's because there's bots, there's fake people, there's this, there's that. You got it legitimate. Yeah, it's crazy out there right now.
And so I've had to revert to making phone calls, which is what I did when I first started 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't automate email outreach. I couldn't, really, I could barely text people at the beginning.
Yeah.
But I used to love the texting, but then they put all the texting rules in place, right? And they're like,
AI now
oh,
screens
now
out
you have to
fast.
get consent and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, good Lord.
Yeah.
Like, that was my go-to. Like, hey, I sent you an email, and I'm going to text you and go, hey, I just sent you an email about this job. Review it and let me know if you're interested. And Matt, I would get responses in 10 minutes if people wanted to talk to me with that approach.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I can't take it anymore because I can't get any of the text provider platforms to let me have it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, where did you get consent from them to text them? I'm like, good Lord, I'm not blasting 150 people.
Yeah.
I want to text like 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, can't do it. Can't do it. Right.
Unless you go through like SendBlue or A2P verifications and everything else.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, using it to structure things that are really time consuming, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Because every once in a while I'll get a candidate that will respond and go, oh, another AI automated email. And I'm like, well, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
But also, like, if I'm trying to see which of you 150 people are interested, I can't email you once.
That's the thing about it too.
And
the adoption
for
rate on
me-
their side.
And for me to send 150 individualized emails would take me all freaking day.
Yep.
And then, oh, wait, 3 days later, do it again. And then 4 days after that, do it again. And then 5 days later, do it again. Dude, I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of time. So, yes, I am going to automate that. Sue me. I don't care. But look, everybody and their brother who's a semi-decent recruiter is automating their emails, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
It just is what it is. But, going beyond that and, hey, I'm going to automate the phone screen. No.
Can't do that. You got to make the phone
Can't
call.
do it. Can't do it, right? Because on the flip side of this, right, the other thing that's really impacting recruiting right now is that companies are looking for a purple unicorn with pink polka dots that lives on a grassy hill in Antarctica.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And anytime you think you found one, now here's an artificial fence that you have to hop over, and here's another one.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, so why?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
it's hard enough to find somebody that has the initial requirements that you're looking for. And now you're like, oh, by the way, but they can't have been a contractor, or they couldn't have gone to a university that's not considered one of the top 50 in the United States. Like, what is that?
Yeah, exactly.
What is that? Hey, they can only have 5 to 7 years of experience, and they had to have been at a Seed A startup that didn't fail, because then they'd be a job hopper, and they don't have job stability. I'm like, wait, do you understand how this works?
Yeah, you have no idea. You have no idea. The job hopper one I appreciate, but I also, you have to have context. You have to.
Right. I'm like, look, if you want somebody who's worked in the startup world for a while,
Yeah.
they're going to look a little hoppy.
Yeah.
It's just the name of the game. It's how it works.
I just jumped off a fractional directorship with a startup. Went well for a whole year, and then she fired me off of one thing that wasn't even within context of what was going on. So it was like, okay, now I look job hoppy. That's why I call myself a consultant and fractional leader, because if I say that was an actual job, people think I'm job hoppy, right?
Yep.
So because it's a startup, took it from 6K to 200K in 6 months, right? And now it's well over 100K a month stabilized. And she let me go for something that was not reasonable, right? And so you're like, all right, I got let go, but hopefully somebody would call me for context before making a decision on a resume, right?
Wow, but that's what good recruiters do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why you can't replace them.
I mean, the hinge comes in when you do that. You tell the client up front, and the client still goes, "Nope, they're a job hopper." And I'm like,
Yeah.
Wait, I gave you the context. Like, none of this was their fault. They couldn't help that their startup failed, that the next one got acquired, that the one after that failed, or chose to go in a different direction, or, any number of a million things that can happen when you play in the startup world.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, man.
Like,
People just don't understand that. That's where the education partnership comes in. That can't be replaced by AI as well, right? When they trust you enough to take it on,
Well, and I'm going to rabbit trail here again a little bit, because this is something that I talk about a lot that nobody, I don't think, understands. But recruiters get a bad name, right? We get a bad rap, and there is some reason for that. Sure, don't disagree. Like, we ghost candidates all the time. Shouldn't do it. Can't happen. Right? But more of it falls on the client.
100%.
And the type of engagement that we have, right? We've been so comfortable with this contingent model for 20 years. Well, if I'm not linked to you, why would I care? Why would I be invested in answering your questions and giving you accurate information and making sure that you actually have the job description of the person that I'm really looking for?
Right.
And why would I give you timely feedback? Because if I give you timely feedback, then I'm going to hire somebody, and then I'm going to owe you $35,000, and I don't really want to pay you $35,000.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep putting up fences because, I said this to a lady a couple weeks ago. I was like, part of me wonders if they just like seeing how many hoops recruiters will jump through for free.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, just because they can. Right?
Yeah.
Because they don't have any skin in the game, so I don't care.
Yeah.
Look, this guy's doing all this work for nothing because either I don't know who I'm looking for, or I just wanted to see how many hoops I could get him to jump through, and I have no intention of hiring anybody to begin with, but it just sounded like fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're all too happy to take that kind of, sure, let me work for free for 6 months and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The one thing, I actually just talked to somebody who's been in recruiting for 40 years. He now is like a consultant in spaces for AI to do startups and recruiting for that. And he's like, I stopped recruiting because I would place someone solid into a company that had bad leadership. So I felt bad because I was hiring for somebody whose company wasn't good, right?
Yeah.
So it's exhausting to be like, hey, I'm working for you, but at the same time, like, we need to fix things on your side so you get good quality candidates as well. So it's a two-way street that people don't realize. Like, if I opened up a position right now in my business, I would make sure my business was so squared away from a leadership standpoint, culture standpoint, make sure that they feel good, they onboard well, they do all these things, because that's how you capture good talent. I would never open up a position if none of those things were on it, right? And then long-term growth.
100%.
Yeah, and I do it that way because I was a recruiter, and I have gotten people hired in terrible positions, and then when they get fired or they quit, guess who's to blame? The recruiter.
Exactly.
You found somebody who's awful.
And then the client's also mad at you, even though they caused the problem.
Yep, that's it, man.
And so that's one of the first things on the front end I dive at. Look, where are you now? Where do you want to go? Can you onboard them? What's your onboarding process? What is your culture? Can you explain your culture to me?
Yeah. What's your onboarding process? What's your culture? What's your leadership? What's your growth status? Like, how can you grow your company? Everything.
Yep, 100%. And if you can't answer those questions clearly, and I feel confident, like, my thing is like, okay, so having all this information, can I see myself working for you?
That's it. That's really it.
And if I can't, then I can't help you.
Amen.
Like,
because
go
you
talk to
this.
Yeah, like, go talk to this person over here, work with them for 6 months, allow them to help you fix your problems.
Yeah.
And when you're done, then come back to me, and we'll go find you the people that you need, because now I feel comfortable recruiting for you.
It's a logical step, right? It's a very logical sequence. Okay. The logical sequence is you have to fix your culture, your business, your things to attract good talent to then have good delivery. What people don't do is my delivery sucks. So let me point the finger to everybody who's working for me and let me be a bad leader. And let me just keep reverse engineering this, or keep trying to rehire for the person that's going to save my business. But you're the issue, right? Get some executive coaching, fix your freaking business, and then top talent is just going to want to wrap right into it, right? Exactly. And half the time they'll take less pay for a good culture than they would take a higher pay for a bad culture, right? And that's the idea behind it. So yeah, I 100% agree. But we're rolling into the 30-minute mark. How can people find you if they're looking for you? You know, what's your best way to connect with you, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, for sure. So my website is mjlr, the word and, c.com. I have a form on there that you can fill out, get in touch with me. I'm on LinkedIn. My email is matt@mjlrandc.com. Happy to chat with anybody, candidate or company, who's looking for good talent, and see how I might be able to help.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you jumping on the podcast. A lot of concentration. I love your perspective on AI. I think everybody should have the same perspective. Be very curious, but be very slow to adopt on some things. And then understand that there's going to be barriers that you're going to have to jump through, for sure, on all these processes. But again, Matt, thanks so much for jumping on. I appreciate the time.
You bet. Thank you, Matt.